Hi. All right, here's a question from Stephanie. Stephanie says, "Hi Tabitha, I always think of myself with an eating disorder past as broken, in inverted commas. This is because during my eating disorder and crazy recovery, I've dropped out of uni 3 times. Now wanting to go back to uni when I've fully recovered and wanting to apply for scholarships, I'm fearful that my past with an eating disorder dropping out of uni will affect my scholarship results. The panel may view me as unadaptable/weak. It's hard even after recovery when society doesn't accept my past. Even my parents think I'm weak of dropping out of uni 3 times. But how can I study when I'm in such a bad mental state? I'd be glad if you give some advice on this, thanks." Well, that's a reality of having an eating disorder. We kind of fuck ourselves over. That's not to say that it's not unfuckable. It's absolutely unfuckable. So you have to, first of all, cut people some slack. So if you're applying to a university, if you want a scholarship and you're applying to a panel, they are going to look at that track record that you have and wonder about it. Like, of course they will. That's their job, because if they're giving scholarships, they want to make sure that the people that they're giving scholarships to have a chance of being successful. And like you pointed out, your track record doesn't look good. Now, but as you've said, you've recovered from an eating disorder, and you're going to have to be very honest with that and spell that out for them. Like, lay it out for them. Don't just say, "Oh, I've recovered from an eating disorder, so I'll be better now." Actually lay it out for them and explain why having an eating disorder made it so difficult for you to study, and why, now that you've recovered, you'll be able to follow through and cope with your studies and do the studying. I think that we sometimes aren't generous enough when we are in this sort of situation, and we're almost so ready for people to discard us, or you're so ready to be rejected for that application that you don't really even give people a real chance not to do that. So when you're applying for that, you're going to have to be really, really upfront about it, realistic about it, lay it out in black and white, unemotional about it, just lay out the facts. This is the facts. I was in energy deficit. My brain didn't have enough energy. Therefore, it was difficult for me to concentrate. I also had a movement compulsion, which meant that I wasn't spending time myself, blah, 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 whatever it is. Spell it out, and spell it out why it's changed this time, because then they actually have something that they can work with. And when they're looking at that and they're looking at your application, then they can say, all right, so it didn't work in the past, but this is why it could work for this person in the future. And I don't think that it's society doesn't accept your past, honestly. I just think that, there has to be stuff put in place. If you think about it from their point of view, they're giving out scholarships. Like, well, that's money. That's them spending money on putting you through something. And if you're going to be unsuccessful about that, then they have every right and should absolutely be sort of thinking, oh, how's that going to work? That doesn't mean that anybody is not accepting your past. It just means that people are doing their due diligence and looking after their own interests, which is what everybody has to do. And so I think that you have to be gracious about it and say, this happened in my past, I'm over it now, I've changed a lot. And then you can even use it to say, this is what I've learned from this, and this is how I'm going to apply what I've learned from this to my life going forward. Because I also believe that people that have lived through any sort of mental health crisis, eating disorder, many other things, come out the other side, we have a lot to offer in terms of knowledge, and honestly, it just makes us grow the fuck up real fast when you get through that sort of crap. And so I think that we sort of come out a lot more mature the other side. We've got a lot more what you call life experience when we come out the other side. And actually, you can use it to show them how you have been faced with adversity and you've overcome that. And that's a really big thing. So you can sort of use it to be a positive experience, but you have to go into it willing to fight for yourself. You can't go in there and be like, no, this is me, and I dropped out of uni 3 times and I had an eating disorder. Okay, thanks. I hope you accept my application. Bye. Like, that's not going to work, is it? You have to go in there and you have to be, hey, this is me. First thing you're going to ask is about my past. Let me explain that. This is how it's going to positively affect my future. This is how that I'm actually now even more motivated to get out there, turn my life around and get forward with this. Like, you've got to use it as a positive thing. And I have found that when I did that, no doors are closed, honestly. I can honestly say that I have not found that there have any doors being closed because I've disclosed my eating disorder history, how it messed everything up, and really actually disclosed my recovery and what I've done since then. No, only open doors, not close them. And so I think that you can actually use this as a really positive thing. And as far as your parents are concerned, well, proof's in the pudding, isn't it? Once you get back to university and you don't drop out and you do really well, they're just going to have to change whatever opinion that they have of that. And also then looking at that, I mean, is that I can't tell, I don't know your parents, but just think about, are you projecting that opinion onto them? Because maybe it's you that actually is judging yourself for having dropped out in university 3 times, and you may be projecting that onto other people. Not saying it's true, just something to think about. All right, bye.